ever seen.
Thank you. But I think my mouth is too big.
No, it's the right size. For me, that is.
So funny, that line.
It is.
I don't know what went wrong, but it says we're having trouble with Rumble. So
Yeah, no.
Martin's not here. Martin is doing stuff with the family this weekend, so it's just us. So if things are going wrong on Rumble, nothing I can do about it. I don't know how to fix that shit.
I don't know anything about Rumble. I have an account there, but I barely go there.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, hi guys. It's Saturday afternoon. We had a good show this morning with Paulie and Sil Abdul, and Keith was there talking about Superman and how things are going this weekend for it. I withdrew my statement that it would be the Tip Peg movie of the summer this weekend because I said it all depended on how it was doing this weekend, and it's not high enough for it to be a Tip Peg film. And it will be the Tip Peg movie of the summer is going to be Lilo and Stitch. I think this will take, the new Superman will take second. I don't know about Fantastic Four yet. I have my doubts it's going to do well, but we'll see.
Why?
I'm trying to keep an open mind.
Why do you have doubts?
Because of so many of the problems and how fans are reacting to those problems. So I don't know until it gets released. You see that first weekend, it's hard to tell what's going to go, happen with that film. A lot of people are, well, it's going to flop. I'm like, I don't know. It might get enough new people watching that it could do well. Hi, Sailor Outlaw George Eshak. You are new, at least with that name.
I think, yeah, I don't remember that name.
I've never seen that name. That's awesome. Welcome to the show. Slasher Fred is here. What's up, Slasher Fred? Of course, our dear friend Snorty is here. Hello. And
Hey,
Gambit.
Snorty.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, Gambit.
Yeah, they collaborate on Action Tiger, which I saw you did correct. So,
we read typo here.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Speaking of Superman, one of these days you should do a review. Oh, Hollywoodland. Yeah. I've seen the movie. I like the film. I don't think it's like the greatest I ever saw, but it was a good film. Hey, Keith is here. What's up, buddy?
Hi, Keith.
Hey, just trying to get my father all set up because he's excited about our episode today.
Oh, he's watching?
Yes, Gary, that earlier.
Oh, so it would be completely inappropriate for me to say, "What's up, Blackness?"
No, he probably knows about that.
Somewhat. We were watching an older episode, and he was commenting on a lot of the colorful language.
Yeah, I bet your dad probably doesn't groove on that.
If you're friends with a person like Gary, you need to warn your elderly parents before having them come into contact with Gary.
Other than that, it's just kind of different for him to be watching YouTube and seeing his son pop up and talk and have some of the same conversations that I sometimes have with him about certain subjects. So
yeah. Well, you and I, we've done so many shows off camera just talking about movies. And this is going to be one of those, times where we get to talk about something that I know we both love. And this was, until Timothy Dalton, this film is the closest they ever got to book Bond. And because so much of what's in this film is from the book. And even though they kind of move things around a little bit in it, it still works. Also, this book came out before Dr. No.
Dr. No, yes.
They found a way to, in the film, to mix that in, because even Dr. No is brought up, because when he starts talking about Spectre, he goes, well, that explains about Dr. No then. and it's like they did some really cool shit with this movie. I liked, and and Connery, was more involved with the making of this film than he had been or was with any of the Bond films he worked on, which is why this is, and he said it himself, was his favorite Bond film that he worked on. He loved
Not
this
just
movie.
Connery, though. Everybody who worked on this movie and got asked, "What's your favorite Bond movie?" said this one. Everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody's favorite.
This is really in my opinion, this along with Goldfinger are the quintessential Bond movies.
Which is why I picked both of those for Connery. We're going to do this one, and then next Saturday we're going to do Goldfinger, and they're the two best Connery films, and this is the number one best Connery film.
Yeah,
and
I got to say personally. Oh, go ahead.
What? No, I was just going to say it also has the single best Bond villain of all time.
You mean the cat?
Yeah, I meant the cat.
Cats are evil, man. Yes, they're cute, but they are mean.
The cat.
Well, again, I would tell anyone that the reason why hardcore Bond fans really enjoy this movie is because the filmmakers don't really seem to feel a need to pay as close of attention to a lot of the plots for a lot of these. But in the early days, it was easier for them to do this. Now, this film still had some changes, but they weren't monumental changes. And kind of like what would happen with Rambo, the ending of this book is quite different from the ending of the movie. Because the bad guy technically won. So, but we'll get to that later, But I gotta say, thank you for sending all the links to all of the behind the scenes stuff, because I learned a few things researching this that I didn't even know. And,
there's quite a few that I thought I knew, and I was like, oh, that's not what I thought. But also, I want to give a big thanks to our friend Paul from Heavy Spoilers, because he has one of the single best behind the scenes videos about this, and I wish he was free, because I have talked to him recently, and he'll be joining us. I think he said in August he might be free to join us, and I'm hoping if I can do anything, I'm going to make it a Bond film that we have him talk about. But hey, 11 Outback, what's up, buddy? And Tom Baker's here too, guys. It's good to see you. Simon Graves is here, including JFK. That is correct, sir.
Yes.
JFK had his 10 favorite books listed in Life magazine, in an article in Life magazine, and on that list was not only James Bond, but this book, From Russia with Love. Which this book, okay, let me tell you a little something about this book. Ian had already gotten tired of writing Bond, and he intended this to be his last book. And it is the closest thing to real Cold War espionage that he ever got, because he gets into some real shit here. And he doesn't call it the KGB, it's the MGB. And but it's clearly meant to be the KGB. And what Klebb wears in the book and in the film is a real weapon that was used by KGB agents that were sent out to be assassins, to kill people. And this is a shoe that had a small blade, and the blade was envenomed, poison. And in this film, poison acts way quicker than it does in real life. But the one guy they got with an umbrella, the KGB killed with an umbrella in London, and they're walking by, and he bumps into the guy, and he stabs him with a syringe at the end of his umbrella. And the guy didn't even realize he'd been poisoned. Yes, I've actually listened to that commentary. It's really good commentary. But Cubby Broccoli didn't like it and ordered that all unsold copies to be pulled and have that removed, because he talks about people that worked on the film. The director talks about people that worked on the film and Terence Young had some interesting things to say about them, including the actress who played Kleb, because he referred to her as a hedonist. And the inference you get from what he says is she liked having sex with anybody that was on the set that wanted to have sex.
She also liked to get married because she did it 5 times, twice to Kurt Weill.
Yeah. Well, twice she did it to be a beard for gay friends.
Yeah.
That were afraid of being outed. And she was a singer, and she hit her 40s, and for some reason, her voice really deepened. And she knew that her time was limited for singing. So she decided, I better focus on the acting.
Well, she was doing both, because German theater has a tradition. No, I said she's always been doing both, because in German theater you have a lot of plays that have musical.
Her main focus was singing. I'm reading from actual history book. She focused on the singing, and then switched her attention to acting and less on the singing. It was more singing, less acting first, and then she moved the needle over. That's all she did.
Yeah.
And she focused more on the acting and less on the singing. And because her voice did deepen. But she was a very good actress, and I've never heard her sing. I don't know if she's any good, but I'm assuming she has to be good.
She was Brecht's favorite singer at that time.
Yeah, that's who we're talking about. The Lotte Lenya, who played Krebs in it. Krebs, the assassin.
Yeah. She's so scary.
She did. She really enjoyed her role. She relished it. The lesbian scene is one of her favorite scenes in the film, where she starts clearly touching the Bond girl in this film.
She was bisexual. She had an affair with a female dancer, and who knows what happened with nobodies.
So she starts gently touching Daniela Bianchi, who plays Tatiana in it. And here's something that a lot of people don't know. All right. I'm going to throw some knowledge down here, because a lot of people love the voices of so many of the Bond girls in those early films. But guess what? Almost none of them used their real voices in the movie. It was somebody that dubbed them. And in this case, that was voice actress Nikki van der Zyl. She was a German voice actress. And she voiced many of the Bond girls over the years. And let me read them to you. In Dr. No, she dubbed Ursula Andress, and all other female voices except for Lois Maxwell, Zena Marshall. Every other female in the movie was one actress, and that was Nikki. She dubbed the voice of the hotel clerk in Istanbul, and she also dubbed the voice of Bianchi, because Terence felt her accent wasn't right. She tried to do Russian and it wouldn't work. But there you go. And by the way, Nikki is actually gorgeous. So at least the voice actress was also beautiful.
Must be a criteria for Bond girls. Must be hot, whether on screen or not.
I listened to Lottie for the 1931 film version of. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
It's Die Drei Groschen Oper. But yeah, that's a very famous piece.
You know,
Germans make words too long.
You know, Miss Klemp isn't the only Hollywood actress that we have knowledge of who had those kinds of appetites. Supposedly,
Marlene Dietrich. Marlene Dietrich, too.
But also Natalie Schaefer, who we know from Gilligan's Island, Mrs. Howell, also was someone that seemed to
he seemed so proper.
Yeah. And for a woman who at the time of filming was 64 years old. Yeah, she was 64 when they started production. and she liked men. She liked men a lot.
I like them a lot. So let's go ahead and get this thing going here. So, I like that one. That's better. That, of course, is not Sean Connery. It's his stand-in stunt double. One thing I want to point out at the beginning of this film here, this is the first movie to begin with another story before the opening titles. This was a decision made by the editor and Terence, the director, to do this. And it set a standard that every film followed after this, to have an opening scene that's a different story from what we're seeing. Even though this is connected, it shows Grant. I think that was his name, Grant, wasn't it? Yeah, Grant.
Yes.
Robert Shaw's character. By the way, the character was born in Ireland, and he was a psychopath and a serial killer. And this is something interesting that Ian Fleming wrote about with this character, that he loved killing, and he began by killing small animals. That is something that a lot of people didn't know until the beginning in the 1970s of the FBI's crime unit. What is it called? Where they deal with psychopaths.
Yeah, it's the
Anima. You watched the TV series based on that. No help from anybody?
No,
Right.
because I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry.
Well, Criminal Minds is the name of the show.
I know.
I know. The name of the, okay, I'll look it up.
Something with behavior.
Behavior. It doesn't matter. Just fucking use it.
Behavioral crimes
anyway,
unit. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. That's it. Also, to point out that when you first see Sean Connery here, when he turns back, he was overly made up. They put a lot of cake makeup on him to make it obvious it's not him. Also, he never makes any expression with his face until Grant pulls the garrote around his throat. And then he's like, like that. But the fact is, he wasn't supposed to make any expression at all because it's a mask.
It's also not his voice.
And yeah, it's somebody else's voice. They did shoot with another actor. And when they demasked him, people that saw it were like, it still looks like Sean Connery. So they got this guy with a mustache.
And I don't know how they fit the mask so smoothly over the mustache. When they pull it off, how did the thing fit under there? That's weird.
It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. But this is where it all began. This is also the first time, because originally Broccoli and Saltzman wanted the same intro with the lettering, the dot lettering, and all that shit. They wanted the same thing. And the editor and director both agreed that this should be different. And I'm glad that they pulled the string on Saltzman on that, because it makes more sense what they end up doing. So let me go over this real quick, because this is some interesting trivia. The opening titles from Russia with Love, I wrote all this out, were designed by Robert Brownjohn. He then copied it by later by Maurice Binder until Binder's death in 1991. And even though he died, they still continued that tradition with Pierce Brosnan years through the Daniel Craig era. In 1956, this is just some more trivia. Would you hit play, by the way, if it's paused? I didn't hear anybody. Did somebody do it?
I did.
Okay.
I'm Martine today.
Yeah, if I'm not looking and can't do it, it'd be nice to hear that it was done. I'm just saying. Anyway, the whole thing here was done with projected image on a screen, and then he would have the women belly dancers dance in front of the screen. So you would see the same stuff. It's really kind of cool visually.
But it was actually rather simple, because it was because of his wife that he came up with the idea to do it. She had walked in front of the projector, and that's when he came up with the idea to, project the words. And that's really just, incredible thinking. It fits with everything, and it's quintessential Bond. I mean, wow.
So once again, it wasn't Maurice Binder that started this practice. It was Robert Brownjohn that started the practice of the opening titles like this. And I fucking love it. And it felt, you know what? It really felt more like it was somehow connected to the book, because the books always had women on the covers.
Yep.
And Terence Young, if you don't know, was the editor on Dr. No. And he got bumped up to director for this film. I think he single-handedly made the best James Bond movie ever made in the process. Now, here we are in Venice. We open on Venice and we end on Venice. Same shot, different angle. This is neat. This is actually based on the actual chess match between Boris Spassky and David Bronstein, played in 1960. The movie version modifies the role game by removing 2 of the white pawns, but the winning combination is exactly what was done at the end of the actual match. And also in the movie, the character of Kronstein playing the white uses a discovered check to win material and forces Black's resignation with a checkmate in 4 moves. It's fucking brilliant chess match. And so it's cool they did that. And the other thing that they did was they actually made the room tiles look like a giant chessboard. This is funny.
Crazy expensive.
And this led to him being like kind of questioned of what took him so long. And his basic theory is you don't interrupt a chess match. So he was not going to leave until the match was over. So he gets this order from Spectre to go meet with them. And done very cleverly. And a lot of the spy techniques used in this film are based on real shit that was used by the KGB as well as British intelligence in MI5.
Real techniques.
And like I said, including that shoe, because that was based on an actual spy who killed a special agent of Britain with one of those. This is one of the fake moments, because it's like, you might shake his hand and congratulate him, but you would not fucking smile while doing it. Yeah, the original director intended for this film was Alfred Hitchcock. And the problem was Alfred was shooting a film at the same time and couldn't do it. This is the only reason why Alfred didn't direct this movie. I love the fighting fish scene. And they cannot claim that no fish were harmed in the making of this movie.
Nope. Such a weird species.
Very aggressive. And now this is interesting. This gentleman actually was in Dr. No. And here we go. Anthony Dawson is the hand and body of Blofeld in this. But he's not the voice. This gentleman was the voice, Eric Pullman. So you have this man doing the physical acting and this man performing the voice of Blofeld for the movie.
At the end credits just give you a question mark instead of a name.
Yeah.
I like that.
And she really is. And what's funny, at one moment, she thinks she's the one that's going to be killed. And it ends up being the Russian. Well, the movie is also, by the way, a nod to North by Northwest, including the helicopter chase scene. It is absolutely was done on purpose.
And the Orient Express.
Yeah, the scene on the
Sasha
train
tried
was
saying
also
it.
well. The scene on the train was intended to be an homage to the scene in North by Northwest too, and they used, of course, yeah, the Orient Express. I've heard awful things about going on the Orient Express to where I just like, yeah, I'm not going to go on it ever. I think I'll skip that.
I would be interested, I think. I like trains.
And of course, this is the first time they mentioned Spectre. Now, this scene is so much longer in the book. It's like almost three chapters in the book because there's more. This is where you find out who he is, his whole background, everything. And because they leave all of that out, it ends up being shorter. But this woman in the book was really kind of afraid of him, the one oiling him up. She was not allowed to ask him questions, and she was told without any question that if she spoke to anyone about what she does or who she does that with while at work, she would absolutely be killed.
Wow.
So all that subterfuge was removed. Now, this gentleman is a really good actor. You would see him again later because in this one, Walter Gotell is his name. He plays the part of Moisney in this, but he will be back as a regular when he plays General Gogol throughout several Bond films.
Actually, he was recast as that character for the films that would be headed up by oh man, I can't believe I forgot the guy's name. Wow.
What? Just a hint. Give me a hint.
Second most popular Bond. Man,
Are you talking about Live and Let Die?
Yeah. Geez, hold on. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, it would be the Roger Moore films. That's when he would come back.
That's what I just told you. That's what I was saying. He played General Gogol.
Yeah,
that's what I said. He came back as later as Gogol, and had a really good run. Anima might also remember that he was in a little film we talked about on here called March or Die. He played Colonel Lamont in that film. Remember that one, Anima?
Mm-hmm.
Great fucking movie. Somebody just joined us.
The Shen.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Shen.
Mm-hmm. Hey, no Martin to annoy?
No, he's busy this weekend. Family stuff.
Yeah, doing other things.
Yep.
But no, he still stayed on. He played Gogol with Timothy Dalton too. Not Timothy Dalton. Timothy Dalton. Timothy Dalton in Living Daylights. But I think because he died. When did he die?
He died
97. 97.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to see his last Bond film because it might have been Living Daylights. It was. That was his last one, where he got to return to play Gogol. And in the next film, he was replaced by another great actor who was in Harry Potter. Giant, Friend of Harry? Anybody?
Hagrid. Don't ask me about the actor's name. I don't know.
You're a misogynist, Harry.
This is the scene that really got edgy because she's touching her, puts her hand on her thigh, touches her shoulder, strokes her hair, uses her crop to also rub her arm. It was intended to, because in the book, she is raped by her, by Krebs in the book. That's his name, Coltrane.
Thank you, Reed.
Now,
Yep.
I want to point out that a lot of people don't notice in this scene, as the other punting boat goes by, there's a radio on it playing From Russia with Love.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie, unlike the other Bond films, with the instrumental and not the sung version. It ends with the sung and begins with the instrumental by John Barry. This is the first Bond film that was fully composed by John Barry. Great composer. And this chick here, oh man, what is her name? Shit.
Dicks around.
No. Oh, let's see.
Her character's name is Sylvia Trench.
Yes.
Sylvia Trench, you first
Jason.
meet her in Dr. No at the casino scene.
Yep.
And then she returned, and she was supposed to be the on-again, off-again girlfriend of James Bond until she, in the books, she ran off with an American. And it was in From Russia with Love, because Russia with Love is like the 6th book, I think. And she finally has enough of his bullshit and runs off with an American CIA operative and marries him. And it was portrayed by Eunice Grayson, but her character, Sylvia Trench, was intended for the movies to be his on and off again girlfriend, and they just ended it right here. Because actually, this is also where it ended in the book. It ended with Bond saying goodbye to her, and then she left because she got tired of him leaving, always being gone.
Which is the idea that I think that they have for the new Bond from Amazon. They're going to try to give him a not permanent, but a semi-regular love interest.
Well,
If the
I have
IO
no
Interactive
problem with
games
that, 'cause
anything
that's
to
in the
go on,
books.
they're definitely looking to do a younger starting out Bond and not like a
Yeah.
Daniel Craig starting out where he's already aged.
Yeah. Well, they've been on that trip since the late 60s.
Hey, Sander Habs here. Hey, Sander. And Sander says Robbie Coltrane was also in Flash. Savior of the universe. Oh, wrong Flash.
It's kind of interesting that most of the gadgets in this movie are rather practical. They has not quite gotten to the fantastical, like, kiss up and pay off.
It's the introduction of Q, for crying out loud. Of course, they didn't
Actually-
go crazy right away.
Actually, they introduced him in Dr. No. It's a different actor, but it's really meant to be the same character.
Oh.
Yeah. So I like that this Bond throwing his hat onto the hat rack, not knowing that M is standing behind the door, and absolutely M cock blocks him. It's funny as hell. The look on Bond's face, like, oh.
You can still buy that hat.
You can actually buy the suits.
Yeah.
The company that produced the suits for James Bond actually sells to the public, and you can get they're very affordable.
Yes.
Suits.
Lock and Company Hatters on St. James Street in London still offers that hat.
Either way, I'm glad it was her last, because I thought it was just didn't like the idea, because Bond being tied down to that emotional string back to England, is weird. Bond should feel like he, doesn't have to worry about letting anybody down if he dies. I would accept Sydney Sweeney as his girlfriend only. Only.
That the Sydney Sweeney's used to be the default. That was the default hot woman we get in Hollywood. Now it's the exception, not the rule.
And it's like I used to not be one of those guys that likes big tits, but Sydney changed my mind as long with someone else that I know.
I just imagine Anima is looking at you, daggered eyes from across the screen.
No, I'm.
He has what's.
I don't care.
She's one of those women that you would say has major league yabos.
What?
That's from Animal House. You wouldn't know it. You didn't like that movie.
I hated it.
All right, here's Llewellyn's first appearance at Q. Now, he had already been involved because they tested him for the first film and they wanted him to do it, but he backed out, and that's why he had another gentleman do it. But from this point forward, he played Q all the way through Timothy Dalton. And even though that exit
movies,
when he leaves, when he was going down the elevator, he says you always should have an exit plan. Actually wasn't meant to be his retirement because they intended to have him back. It just happened that way because he died not long after car accident. He was killed by I do believe the guy was drunk.
Damn.
I'm surprised. There you go, Alpha. There you go. Thank you, Alpha. Thank you. Alpha's with me.
I still don't know what it means, but if nobody of you cares to explain, fine.
Reed, I argue with this. I argue with this right here, Reed. Sweeney's Bond name should be Greta Tatazov.
Oh, gosh.
Or Tatasevich.
No, Tatazov means, off with the bra with your tatas. There you go.
Wow.
Mine actually has meaning.
I'm glad to see you're so mature, Gary.
Anima was so nervous to do the show if you guys hadn't showed up, but I'm like, no, we've done enough. We could probably do the show by ourselves, but I'm glad you guys popped in. It's really nice to have you guys on here.
You guys are a really good couple to watch. I'm serious. You guys are a lot of fun for me. So
Anima even said that, because I go on and on about Tom and his wife doing their shows together, Tom Segura. I love their podcasts. I think they're hilarious. A couple that clearly love each other, but they shit on each other constantly. And some of the things kind of remind me of Anima and me, where like one time his wife woke up in a bad mood because she had a dream where he had become a gimp. It was like having weird sex with that actress I can't stand she was originally from Sweden, I think. She's in that new Netflix movie with the sword fighting and gunfighting and shit. Blonde bombshell. She was in Atomic Blonde. I can't stand her.
Just remember, it's Istanbul, not Constantinople.
That's one of the things
I give so many clues to help you guys help me. Charlize Theron. I had to go look it up myself. Nobody's going to fucking look it up.
No, I know you don't like her. That's why I'm not saying her name.
No, I wanted someone to say her name, so I kept giving clues. I couldn't think of her name. Charlize Theron. Also, I want to point out that I was so glad that the music used in this film is more thematic and less the blind mice thing like they did in the first one, Dark Knight. That was ridiculous. The constant playing of that song. Look at that car right there. That's the one that got my hand, Anima.
Yeah, I know.
They do.
The doors are almost 200 pounds. What?
They do also end this movie almost the exact same way they ended the previous one. In a boat, making out with the girl, and then he lets go of something.
Oh, is she South African? I thought she was from Sweden. I thought I remember reading something about that way back. Well, she looks like she's Sweden. I'm not surprised she's from South Africa.
Down there. They have blonde
because
people.
she's a fascist. A lot of people don't know it. If you listen to some of the shit she says, she is a fascist.
She's a bundle of sticks.
Oh my gosh! Paul
That
McCartney
too.
announced a new film project. Send my regards to Bakalakadaka Street.
You're done for
And
today,
he-
Sander. You're done.
No.
He got it. He got it earlier. It's the only one he gets, so he's getting it.
Yep.
There you go,
Yeah.
buddy.
I've got 5 tennis going southeast on Bakalakadaka Street.
Reset the clock.
Reset the clock.
You know, the video game does a really great job of recreating many of these sections of the film.
Well, we need to talk about the game. Let's save that for a little bit because that's an important subject to go into because there's so many cool things about that fucking game. And I don't know if any of you guys ever played it. I got to play it, and I thought it was really fucking cool, even though it's weird hearing old man Sean Connery trying to sound like he's 40.
I was just going
now
to say
here
that.
we go.
That must be weird. Like what they did with
His
Ford
voice
in-
is
in the
so
latest
gravelly.
movie.
His voice is so gravelly. Now,
I didn't
this
mind.
is the part I wanted to talk about. In 1956, Armendariz had a role in the film The Conqueror. It's a famous film, but it's more infamous than anything. Produced by Howard Hughes, it was filmed in the state of Utah at the time when the U.S. government was still conducting atmospheric nuclear testing in the neighboring state. Within 25 years of that movie being made, 91 out of 220, it's just under half, people involved with making that film developed cancer, of which half of them died of either the cancer itself or complications caused by it. Armendariz began to suffer pain in his hips, and later it was discovered that he had neck cancer, but it started in his hips. He learned as they were testing him at UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles that it was inoperable. It had spread throughout his entire body and he was dying. And that was when he took the role in this film. And he did as much as he could in this movie as possible, but he could not finish the film. There were 4 scenes left that he was unable to finish. He was taken off to a hospital to die. And they don't say who. I suspect his eldest son smuggled in a handgun, and he ended it his own way in the chest. And didn't want to go out in that kind of pain.
Nobody
Now,
wants that.
When you watch this scene, you take notice that the dun, 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 ba, 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 da, 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 is still playing in the background. And why? Because he's spying right now. He is looking at this room and knows he's being listened to. But the other thing that nobody I've ever heard notice, the chandelier, each one of those lights has jewels hanging down like tentacles from an octopus. It's not an accident. That was done intentionally
That's pretty cool.
to give a clue that it might be Spectre. That they've got their own brand of fucking chandeliers.
What? No, Spectre's a great rebel organization to have. They kill over half their own agents, so you don't have to deal with too
Oh
many.
yeah, you don't have to worry about killing Spectre agents. They'll do it for you.
Yep.
Just make them fail. By the way, I want to say hi to Wade Bumpy Johnson. Of course, I said hi to Sander, E. Clay Thomason, Read by Nature, and of course, Paul Smith is here. Hi guys, hope everybody's having a great weekend. Talking about my single favorite James Bond movie of all time. My favorite Bond is actually Timothy Dalton, but this is the best James Bond movie, and it's the closest Bond you got at the time, and I believe still book-wise, it's the closest to the book you'll ever get.
Yeah,
Just needs a scar.
yes.
The receptionist here, she was also dubbed by Nikki. I love the way he waits to hear the second phone hang up.
Yeah. That sound brings me back to my childhood because we had 2 landlines in our house because it's a 2-story house. And my dad's room where he worked and practiced his music was downstairs in the basement. And the rest of the living room and everything was upstairs. So the kitchen had one and his room had one. And my stepmom liked to listen in.
Yeah, that was what I was just talking about, Tom. That out of the 220 people working on the film, 91 developed cancer, and of the 91, 41 died of either cancer or cancer-related complications. Absolutely.
Well, a big part of that, as far as I can tell, is that everyone in Hollywood smoked at the time.
No, they came in contact with bad stuff on the set. That's what made them sick.
Oh, there was radioactive material. They absolutely were exposed to radiation. John Wayne lost a lung and then later died of complications from cancer. And this is the gentleman I'm talking about here. He's in this movie. You would not know he's in pain. In one scene, he was having trouble even thinking, and he got up, left, and within a couple of minutes came back, and he was like a whole different person. And what it was is he was down in morphine, like it was candy.
Wow.
Heartbreaking. I mean, they discovered his cancer during filming when they had already suspected he was seriously ill, and then they just scrapped the whole timetable and put in all his scenes and flew back to London so he could finish the movie. So his family,
like I said, four scenes were still left undone, and they used body double a couple times in the film.
When he did the scene in Gypsy Camp, he wasn't able to stand up anymore. So when he flips the table, he has to lean on it. He couldn't stand anymore. He
fell forward and is leaning on it because he couldn't stand. It looks good though. It looks like he's using it for cover, but it's actually because his knees wouldn't, his legs wouldn't handle it. What, Keith?
Well, he got this part as a favor because Sergio Leone had called with the production and wanted to know if they would hire him to play this part because he was wanting to basically make enough money to leave to his family because he knew he was dying. So Sergio Leone actually contacted the producers and got him cast in this movie as a favor.
By the way, as I recall, his character was originally supposed to be Mathis, which we don't meet in the James Bond films until the Daniel Craig era.
Yeah.
And I do believe that's the character he was supposed to be as Mathis.
Of course, to be fair, again, you can tell from this particular story that whatever went on between him and Mathis from before is pretty much all forgotten and forgiven going into this story.
Yeah. By the way, put that back up. I was wanting to address it. Hi, Monkey Jeeves. First of all, how you doing, buddy? Hope everything's going well. They have targeted treatments for cancer now, and they need to. There was recently, I watched a science video from a lab where they show how they reversed the HIV virus somehow, and what they ended up finding out is that it attacks cancer cells. And that was an interesting video to watch.
There's so much research going on, thankfully, but people still die from the fucking illness.
It's ridiculous that we have people still dying of cancer. I mean, like Star Trek, you should just have to just pop a pill and you're over it.
Yeah.
Like the flu.
A really crazy one.
People discover it too late. But
go ahead, Shanachi.
A really crazy one is the fungus that kind of determined what was the cause of a lot of the Egyptian curses, and apparently it was just a fungus that basically killed the people. But it turns out that that ancient fungus, because those tombs were sealed for thousands of years, is good for fighting cancer. So they're actually using something that was the cause of like the Tutankhamun's curse to kill cancer.
Okay, I want to point something else here in this scene. I do believe it was the editor who was working really close with Terence, the director. both of them had an issue with Bianchi's legs. The lady who plays the Bond girl in this, is it Bianchi? Hold on, let me go look at it. Yeah, Bianchi, Daniela Bianchi, who plays Tatiana. So in the scene where they're looking through the periscope, that is not her legs. That is a stand-in. And it was somebody that the editor knew that they brought in. Yeah, and it's so sad because he didn't make it. He died right after he made what was that movie called? Al Pacino movie, Dog Day Afternoon. Great actor, by the way. If you don't know who he's in The Godfather, he plays Michael Corleone's brother that he kisses. Michael, no, Michael kisses. What's his name? I forgot.
Fredo
in the movie.
Fredo.
I know it was you, Fredo. Oh man. Now this is actually really like it was in the book. These two women were going to kill each other. It was a fight to the death. Why is it always a fight to the death? Last night it was eating meatballs to the death. What is it with you? And I do believe that joke is from the Venture Brothers. Why is it always to the death? Everything is to the death with you. And you think, I don't know, I'm just dark. So these two women are going to fight to the death. And Bond, as a favor for having saved the leader of the gypsies, he requests only that their lives be spared. And he goes, this is against the tradition, but for you, anything. So then they show up at his tent. And yes, in the book, he bangs both of them that night.
See, that's why they should actually do throwbacks, because they could actually do the content of the books now. I mean, HBO would be all over that shit.
Yeah. HBO would, but it's Amazon doing it, so.
I know. Keyword should, not they are.
By the way, the name of this chapter that's coming up when they go to hunt down this Russian who tried to kill him is called Marilyn Monroe's Mouth. That's the name of the chapter in the book.
I see nothing wrong with that.
Me either. But it's not Marilyn Monroe's mouth. It's actually another actress that's in the movie with Bob Hope, which Eon Production was making at the same time. And so they promoted the film within the film because they knew this movie would come out around the same time as the other film. Bowana. I can't remember the name of that movie. And it's another platinum blonde bombshell that they put on the wall instead of Marilyn.
Interesting part with the whole copyrights, because in several countries, Bond's already in the public domain. So for Japan, for example, actually has an all-female performance show of Casino Royale, because they have this whole thing. It was a Tetsuraku review or something like that. Yeah, it's basically all-female stage show. It's kind of like the opposite of what used to be in the West, where during Shakespeare time, where it was like everyone was played by a guy, even the girls. Yeah.
Go on.
What? That's it. There's a stage show in Japan, all female, and there's a female James Bond. Or exists.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to also mention something else I forgot to mention earlier. When you see him grab his car phone, the car he's driving in this is a Bentley, which is in the books his car. He drove a Bentley in the books, the original books with Ian Fleming.
Which point was it? Because originally he used a Beretta, and then like a gun nut got in contact with Fleming, going, "No, he wouldn't use a Beretta. He, the best thing he could do because of the size he'd need for being a spy would be the Walter PPK."
I'd have to look that one up. This is kind of.
It was an old BBC one.
Yeah, I forget the name of it. It used to be a Catholic church until Turkey became Muslim, and then they turned it into a mosque. But
I've
that's the
been there.
mosque that they always show in what used to be Constantinople, which is now, what is it? Shanaski, what's it
Istanbul.
called?
Istanbul,
Aw.
not Constantinople. No, it's Istanbul, not Constantinople. I'm not singing the whole thing.
They have
And
the blue
the
mosque
last
too,
line
though.
is, "Go ask the Turks." Is the end line in that lyrics. I
That's
love that.
nobody's business but the Turks.
Good band.
Bands.
Good song.
Yeah, I'm gonna post in the private chat link to the video you can play if you
Hey,
want to.
let me tell you something.
Oh,
There was consideration early on to develop Jane Bond instead of James Bond. We're talking about the end of the 50s, where they were contemplating, because that was one of the ideas that Ian Fleming said we could maybe do it as a female spy, because he didn't like what CBS did with Casino Royale. So he says maybe we should go in a different direction, do something different, maybe have her in the female Bond character named Jane Bond. And all of that was considered long before everybody got woke.
Yep. Because the idea of a female spy, especially with the type of stuff Ian would get up to, I imagine it'd just be like, action and just tons of lesbian sex, which people would definitely pay
There'd
for.
be a lot of scissoring.
Yep.
oh gosh. You know what?
Hey, do you remember my joke about Mork and Mindy? I said Mork and Mindy was the first ever scissoring shown on television when they did the Orkian handshake, which is that.
No.
Oh,
Scissoring.
oh, jeez. Well, speaking of female,
Go
speaking
ahead.
of female agents, I think Ian Fleming, was I think contemplating that because he had come up with the name April Dancer. That they
Well, he did.
using.
He had all these ideas of doing a female Bond. He really did.
Yeah.
And
he gave that name to the guy that ended up creating the Man from U.N.C.L.E. television series, because Ian Fleming was the one that came up with the name Napoleon Solo.
he helped them develop
April.
it. That's right.
Yes.
He helped them develop the other series, Man from U.N.C.L.E. Itself. And but going back here is the scene I'm talking about, with the two women that were fighting to the death are now in his bedchambers. And that's pretty much all they show.
Yep. Yeah, most people seem to forget that Bond's origin is as a pulp character, including a lot of the like crazy over the top sex stuff, because that's what fucking sold back then. Because people weren't prudes, especially during the 60s.
This is the period when the Rat Pack were huge. Yes, Monkey Judas, it's true. It is a Happy Days spinoff. Mark appeared on Happy Days before he got his own show.
Yeah, in a dream episode, which is really weird.
I don't remember that. I just remember him meeting the Fonz.
Yeah,
Hey.
no. The episode ends with, was it Richie waking up?
I don't remember that. That's great, though. Yeah, but which parts? I was stationed there. Oh, Tom is talking about having been in Turkey. That's cool. So now they're talking Turkey.
Oh, jeez.
Thank you, Keith, for being the only one that got that, because that's an old axiom, an old turn of phrase. Talking Turkey. Here it is. Bob Hope. You see Bob Hope's name there, promoting that movie Buana. Because Al was his teacher. Gotcha. Now, I want you to notice something. If you watch this movie, watch this scene closely. When he goes to fire his weapon, his face raises. And I don't know why he did that. I think that he's scared of guns. And his head comes back before he fires. It was really weird. Because that's a good way to miss somebody.
Yeah.
And his character's name is Karim Bey. Or you could say Kareem, but it's not spelled that way.
Karim, yeah.
I do like the idea though. It's like, hold on, use my shoulder to balance so you can take a better shot.
Well,
Hey, and he
This act-
Clay Thomason is eating turkey. Go ahead.
the thing about this particular actor also is that his son became an actor and ended up
And
making
he
an
would be a
appearance.
Bond actor. Yeah.
That's right. He'd be a Bond villain. He would become somebody associated as
Kind of a
Bond
dumb villain, but yeah, he's a Bond villain.
Yeah, yeah.
He would be in it was
License to Kill.
License to Kill, yeah. And he looks just like his dad, by the way.
He does. He
And you know, we
does look
lost
like his
him.
dad.
He died in 2011, I think, or 2014.
Really?
Yeah. He was in a lot of good films too. Absolutely. And if you've ever been around guns, absolutely. That's why in the movie Black Hawk Down, the guy is complaining that the other guy keeps firing his saw right next to his head. He goes, "Stop doing that. You're killing my ears." Because oddly, even though they're firing the same round, the saw is an open weapon. So it has an area where sound comes out the side of it. And so if you lay the weapon down, it's not all down at the barrel where you hear the bang, you hear it here too. And it's loud as fuck. It does not have the same sound as an M16 when it fires, even though it's firing the exact same caliber round. That's interesting. There you go. Thanks, Alpha.
Hey.
Yeah, he said it earlier, but it kind of got drowned in the conversation.
There we go.
Now, what's so sexy about this is she's completely naked in that bed with a ribbon around her neck. A ribbon around her neck, like she is a gift to be unwrapped.
Hello.
Think about that. Mm-hmm.
She was
They
so
knew what they-
uncomfortable doing that scene.
Yeah, well, 1963, and it still has an effect on many guys. Oh.
It's like somehow the chest hair just does it for the ladies.
Oh, man.
The person we're talking about is Pedro Armendariz, and his son has the same name. He's Junior, and he died in 2011.
Yeah. See, I always kind of wanted to do a parody skit of Bond where his next big bad he has to take on is all his illegitimate children ganging up to take him down because he was never
All
there.
the kids that he turned into bastards or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna play this clip again and then I'm gonna talk about what happened with this
One of the
scene.
most beautiful girls I've ever seen.
Thank you. But I think my mouth is too big.
No, it's the right size. For me, that is.
Right there, man.
Naughty Bond.
What? What about
The censors, I want to go into this, please. The censors went nuts over this scene. They were losing their shit. And they were coming at Eon Productions over this fucking scene, going, "You can't show that. You can't do that." And even worse is the way this scene ends, which it ends cutting from them to another shot of them through a two-way mirror. And it's being filmed by a cameraman. And they had to change that shot because the cameraman was sweating. And during the scene, he wipes the sweat off his face. And they said that made it too sexual, that he was being turned on too much.
Man.
So that had to be cut out. They were fucking, the censors went after this like crazy. I'm shocked they got that line in the movie. Your mouth is the perfect size for me. Either way, it still sounds like you're saying for your dick.
Yeah.
That's the power of implication. He goes like, "What was he talking about? You tell me. You're the one with the dirty mind, not me." He's
Yeah,
just-
you're the one with the dirty mind. He meant kissing, but no, it's clear that the line is meant to infer.
Oh man,
Bond, are you familiar with a man named Jeffrey Epstein? You will be.
Yeah, and like Alpha said, it's in almost every establishing shot. The fucking mosque is in the background.
The Blue Mosque and the Hagia Sophia, yeah. Well, they're like the Eiffel
Yeah.
Tower in Paris or St. Stephen's in Vienna.
Which is the other thing
And
you
the
brought up.
outside.
Like if you have something in Paris, they always have to show either the Arc de Triomphe or the Eiffel Tower.
And if it's England, you got to show Big Ben eventually.
Yeah.
I'm going to mention also in the book that Grant did not follow him around like he does in the movie. That was something that was decided to be put in the movie to have Grant following him around, shadowing him all the time, which I think is fucking brilliant. That's better than what it is in the book because he just sort of shows up at the end. And I'm like, that makes, that's kind of weird. Why don't we have him following him? So in a moment, the other operative gets killed. And the other agent, and Bond finds him and knows that somebody's doing this. Somebody's like saving me some trouble here. And it also happened the previous night because Grant shot that dude that jumped down with the blade and was going to kill Bond from behind and shot him before he could hurt Bond. And Bond sees it. He turns and sees it. He looks around like, who the fuck shot him?
Yeah, so you think the female villain in this, the head one, was basically the inspiration for the one in Austin Powers? The one that goes,
yes. So much of this movie is in The Spy Who Loved Me or The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He is the illegitimate child of Harry Palmer and like first cousin of James Bond.
Yeah, modern Bond would just be Dr. No says no.
Would Dr. No be female and black?
Probably. That would have to be Ebonics, so it'd be Dr. Nah.
And that, by the way, I said the other day, I've always loved Bondisms, the little quips that he would do. And the only other actor that I thought got them right outside of playing Bond is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Stallone tried that shit and it just doesn't work. He's got like a weird way of speaking because he had a kind of a stroke when he was a baby. It caused part of his face to droop. And so he talks funny and it doesn't work. His quipping doesn't work for Stallone. But Arnold nails that shit.
Wasn't like the original cut of First Blood, like they tried to do the quip thing all the time and he was like, this is a disaster. Just cut it all out.
One is in the movie. There's still one in the movie when he takes that deuce and a half and tells the soldier to get out. He does a quick thing about, more people are killed not wearing safety belts, I think was a line or something. And that was a Bondism. It just fell flat. Stallone cannot do that kind of humor. He does the same thing, because I'm a big fan of Tango and Cash, but I find the best part of that fucking movie isn't Stallone. It's fucking Kurt. Kurt's the best part of that fucking movie.
Kurt is cool. Kurt is just cool.
Kurt Russell is charisma personified. I think that's the best way I can describe him.
And I was really surprised that he told Stallone no for doing a sequel. And I always felt that they're kids. Like Stallone's kid and Kurt's kid would be like a nephew or niece to Stallone's character, as Cash. Wait, no, Tango. He was Tango, and Kurt Russell was Cash, right?
Yep.
I forget which one's which. And so therefore, they're both on the force, and it should be about them now that they're adult cops. And the dad, uncle, fucking have them follow around and help them with a case. I just thought that would be fucking great. Kurt didn't want any part of it, and I'm like, don't understand why, dude. Don't understand why. I'm sure Stallone would write a much better script today than he did then. This is a funny scene because there's sexy talk going on between the two of them, and then because Moneypenny is sitting there, M just kind of ends it and goes, "We've heard enough. We've heard enough." Because he doesn't want Moneypenny hearing all that sexy talk. And by the way, he had suggested that when she was too old to play Moneypenny anymore, that she said you should turn Moneypenny into M, and the name M makes sense because her name is Moneypenny.
That would have made sense, yeah.
And ended up later they did something like that by making what's her name, M?
Judi Dench.
Judi Dench.
Dame Judi Dench.
And there was a gag in that film that got cut, and it was pushed over into the next film, where Bond, or not the next one, the third film, I think, where Craig says, I found it interesting that you being M, that your first name actually starts with M, and she says, you say another word and I'll have you shot.
I love her.
And it was given away in the script what her name was, like Madison or something like that.
Well, if you notice, Kurt Russell hasn't really done too many sequels. I mean, I can only think of like Escape from LA off the top of my head.
Yeah. Oh, and don't forget that he did return as Snake Plissken. And it was a terrible fucking movie.
Yep. That's probably why he's like, not doing that.
It's a really terrible remake. It's a remake of Escape from New York. All the exact same beats. All the beats are the same.
Yep.
The middle of the movie, he grabs a chair and sits down to see what's going to happen next because all his plans went to shit. He goes, well, let's just see what happens. Does it in both movies. And the exact same thing happened. Then instead of a boxing match, they made a basketball match. It's just fucking, come on, guys. You're not even trying.
It's a strange thing that Sam Raimi was, in essence, able to remake the same movie with a bigger budget, and it works spectacularly. And then John Carpenter tried to do that with Escape, in comparison with like Evil Dead, and just didn't succeed.
Well, here's the thing. The big difference was if he had tried to remake it and set it in New York, I think you would have had at least an opportunity to do something. But having set it on the West Coast and to use it as a way of joking on the West Coast and the West Coast lifestyle, it was just all bad jokes, and spending more money doesn't necessarily mean that everything's going to be great. I mean,
that's right.
For the most part, it looks worse than the original. The original film had a much smaller budget, but you know what? It still holds up after all these years. It's a better looking movie. It's a better edited film. And it's clear, it's concise. Escape from LA is just, you're waiting really for something interesting to happen that actually truly moves the plot along and isn't just a useless excuse to make a joke or a long-winded way to get to a cameo or whatever. So.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, Charade has been people think it's Alfred Hitchcock because it's so Hitchcockian, and it's a great movie. I love that movie with Audrey Hepburn and Cary Grant. Great film. Let's see. I need to point something out about that one because something that's interesting is, according to a historian who wrote the book Killing the President, I think was the name of it, or Killing Kennedy, he wrote in there that the last thing that Kennedy watched movie-wise was he got to see a private screening of this movie before he went to Dallas. That was November 20th of 1963. He got to see it before going to Dallas, where they murdered him.
I think that's also in the official Cubby Broccoli book too. Yes. Broccoli book. So, yeah, it's.
You think Kennedy was thinking about which actress from this movie he want to bang and how to get them to Washington?
Yeah, I like Razor Fist, but we don't agree on a lot of things. I disagree with him.
I used to like Razor Fist until certain things came to light, and then I'm just gonna stay away from that topic.
Okay. I don't dislike him. I like him. I've had him on, but you know, there's just some people that I don't mind people having bigger shows than me, but I hate it when people act like they've got a bigger show than me. It's like, I don't do that with people I have a bigger show than. Like, I have more people watching me than some people, and I think that's fucking retarded to act that way. And I feel like he did that one day with me, and I'm like, okay, I think I'll stop talking to you. But he's still, I consider him a nice guy, and he knows a lot of shit. I think he's wrong on a couple of things with Blade Runner in particular. Him and our dear friend, Doomcock, because Doomcock believes, you know, absolutely he's a fucking replicant. I'm like going, okay, if you want to believe that, you're right ahead. But all the evidence argues the opposite. Also, when it comes to the rules of screenwriting, it's stupid. With Dystopia New York City on mind, have you... Oh, I love The Warriors, dude. We have not done it yet. No, we need to do that movie.
Which cut?
Warriors! Warriors! Come on, man. He did that. He came up with that himself with the Coke bottles on his fingers and clanking them together, going, Warriors! Because he said there were some bullies that used to do that to him as a kid. Stand outside of his house there in New York and clink Coke bottles together and saying his name. The actor, Patrick, I forget his name. Something Patrick's, maybe? He was in Dreamscape. He was in not Beverly Hills. Yeah, not Beverly Hills Cop 48 Hours. He was in 48 Hours.
He's one of those character actors. Like you know when you see him, but you don't quite remember his name.
Right.
Okay, his name is David Patrick Kelly.
David Patrick Kelly. Dude could act. And didn't we lose him over the last few years?
I think so.
I think he's still around. He was in what? Commando 2.
I hope so. I love the guy. Yeah, he's still around. I just checked on it. The dude's face, he's got that weird looking face, man, but he's good.
Yeah, he looks like he's either neurotic or a drug addict, or a neurotic drug addict.
Or a serial
Whoa.
killer.
He was in John Wick. I don't remember him in John Wick.
Yeah, he's the guy that cleans the house.
Oh, yes, he is. Yes, he is the guy that cleans it out. Thank you.
I love that. I love that. The minute I saw his face, I said, oh, shit, it's him. He was in
a lot of good actors in John Wick.
Another film that is really good that I think people have forgotten we need to do is another remake of a Japanese film called Last Man Standing, which is a remake of Yojimbo.
There's so many remakes of Yojimbo. It's kind of crazy.
Hey, Jacob, how you doing, buddy?
The thing is,
you know Jacob, don't you, Keith? He used to live here in Springfield. He used to come to the convention all the time. Yeah.
So, the thing about Hollywood is there are a lot of remakes. They've been remaking stuff since almost the very beginning. As I've said since we first started doing this together, the biggest thing that a lot of people need to understand is that Hollywood keeps doing it. This is not something new. This is not something from the past 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. This has been going on since the very beginning of Hollywood. So people need to stop acting like it's new.
Yeah, they just were a lot better at hiding it, I think.
True. You had a lot more talented writers that were able to write really well to the point where you can almost not tell. But again,
Yeah, well, it's frustrating with me as a writer where I just see like people screwing up stories that already worked. That to me is a great reason. I get that, adaptation, you can't like one to one, but the core of the story you can keep.
I don't like it as much as the original, but I like that he got Burt Reynolds involved with it. It's actually not a bad film. To me, the only other remake that I do consider good is the version that was made in Britain, and it's got what's his name, Vinnie Jones, and Jason Statham in it, and Jason plays the psycho in it, and it's a really good film. I forget the name of it. It's Mean Machine. Mean Machine just popped into my head. Mean Machine is a worthwhile film to check out, Alpha. I think you'll like it. It is basically just the British doing their version, and it's interesting the way they did it.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting how like the 2/3 of this movie is basically the heist, and the last is it's kind of like an Oriented Express story.
Yep. For the price, I wish they weren't so expensive, but I got to tell you something. I've had the Wahlburger before, and it's really good. They're good burgers.
There's a couple, and
And that's
one of them's
they're-
The Habit. That's a good one.
Because I think they start out with over a quarter pound on the burgers. So when it fries down, all that fat leaves it. It's still a quarter pound of beef, and it's a good sandwich. And those buns they use, whoa, they're good. Those rolls. I'm not going to call them buns. Rolls that they use are good.
There's nothing wrong with the word buns, but I agree with you. They are more rolls. So.
Oh God, I just realized you could make a burger place called Sydney Sweeney's Buns, and you would just sell out.
Oh,
You
my
were
God.
going to find
No,
out.
and you have the Sydney Sweeney milkshake. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you
Hey,
guys.
it would definitely bring all the boys to the arch.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you. That's what I was wanting right there.
You're lucky I'm running the slideshow. I also would have left now. Too much
sorry.
bullshit going on in this sausage fest.
I'm sorry.
Too much guy talk.
Too much sausage.
sorry. Well,
Can't help
I
it, babe.
apologize, Anna.
No matter what, no matter how much of a gentleman I really am in private, I do like looking at boobs. I just will never stop looking at them. I think they're gorgeous.
You're a dick
There's
in
something-
private too. Don't lie.
Although it led to a funny
Yeah.
moment while we were watching the movie Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, because it's so funny. And I talked about it yesterday when instead of the guy reaching up to grab her boobs, he's on top of her and she reaches up and grabs his man boobs. And I'm like, that is just so fucking funny because it still looks like somebody holding somebody's boobs. It still does. And by the way, the one difference between him, the way he played the character and the way the character is in the book, is the guy had very tight curls that weirdly grew all the way down to the middle of his neck and then had a little trail going off that the woman doing the massaging found so disgusting and reptilian looking.
Uh-oh. You gave him an idea, guys.
Yeah, the guy here kind of reminds me of Roy Batty, actually.
Very much so. And by the way, it was while watching this film that Spielberg wanted to cast him as Quint in Jaws, this movie. And if you didn't know it, he wanted to direct a Bond movie, Spielberg. And they wouldn't let him. And he got heartbroken over it. And Lucas, while they were on vacation for Star Wars, the opening weekend of Star Wars, they began talking about Indiana Jones. All the way back in 1977, man.
I got my own spins on some of the stuff, though. It's funny to think that, like, in 10 years, like, copyright, man, was it 2035? James Bond is in the public domain.
That's right, 2035. By the way, I fucking love this. I'm picturing you. This is
one
Keely
of the
Chow.
best breach
I
ever.
love Keely Chow. I'm now picturing you having a burger joint with two nice entrances because, just like you, some people just like going through the back door, Gary.
That is an awesome breach.
Wow.
And that's what
We
we
need
will
a
call
video.
it. If I ever owned a restaurant, I would have the area where you go for pickup to be called Gary's back door.
If we ever own a place, it's going to be a pub. I thought we talked about this. Can you name?
And this is all thanks to Polly from Latino Slant. Because people forget, Polly Slant started Backdoor Gary.
Oh.
I love Prince Philip
All right.
acted like a little boy whenever he got to see James Bond.
Hold on, we need a
Backdoor
backdoor video
Gary's.
for the breach because that one was good.
Oh, yeah. Backdoor Gary's would be a bar in an alley. Yeah, I get you on that one. That would be funny. Let's do Dragon again. Here's Dragon.
In 6 months, you've been looking for the back door.
Oh, no! It's never going to be over between you and me. You get it?
Yeah, maybe they should have called it a Bruce Lee story instead of the Bruce Lee story, because
Yeah.
It's not true.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fiction in it. This is a moment in the film that if you pay attention, Bond gives him a funny look because they order seafood. And what kind of wine would you like? Of course, a white wine. You drink white wine with seafood, except shark. You can, because shark is like a steak. So therefore, you can actually have a red wine with that. But 99% of seafood, you drink a white wine. And the best white wine to drink is a dry white wine. And because it doesn't impact your taste buds when eating the fish. So they order that, and then he says, I'll have, what was it? He says, a Zinfandel, or what was it? What did he say?
I forgot.
And he says,
No.
you would like a white one? The white one?
Chianti.
Chianti.
I
Chianti.
think.
You like,
He
I
wants
like
a white
Chianti.
Chianti. And I didn't know that was a thing until watching this movie.
He didn't want
That's
the,
what
he
Bond does.
offers the white Chianti to Shaw, and Shaw says, no, I'll take dark.
Yeah.
And immediately Connery eyes dart to him when he does that. And it is meant to let you know that that triggered him to be suspicious of him. And it's brought up later, there were two things that bothered him. Technically, there were three things. And one of them was the wine thing. And the last one, after he knocks him unconscious or kills him, he kills him.
yeah.
He repeats the thing that he said one too many times to him. He calls him old man. Because he calls him out, is that something you and your Spectre friends also, or he says your Smirsh friends? He goes, Smush. And he goes, not Smirsh. Spectre. I love this movie. This is one of the few real espionage fucking movies. There's so few of those in the James Bond movie franchise. This is actually a straightforward espionage thriller.
Yeah, there's less camp than there was in Dr. No. And Dr. No has a really ridiculously over-the-top thing compared to the first part of the movie.
But you have to understand, when you were just starting out and you don't have as much money, Dr. No is the easiest one to start with. You know, you have to just go with what you have, literally. And so you're needing actors that can bring more than material than what is there. And also try to make it entertaining enough to forget that you're watching something that's on a much smaller budget. These Bond films became really good at being able to use a certain amount of money very, very well. But on top of that, all of the product placement became a big part of these films.
The watches, the cars, yeah.
The clip, also everything down to like even the cufflinks the type of brushes used for the hair, even things that they may not even touch in the film, to have it in the movies. You know, there's a whole website dedicated to that called the Bond Lifestyle. And you can go there and order any of the stuff that you see in these films. Any of them. They've done all the hard work. They've tracked down all the companies.
All right, just to let you guys know, you are about to see one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in a movie. And what I love about this is it is choreographed, but it's the actors doing it. There's actually only one shot in this entire fight scene that has a double in it, and that's only because Shaw wasn't available for the angle, and so they had to have his body double come in for one single frame, you know, and you can tell because he has a spiked wig on. It's clearly different than Robert Shaw's. It's from behind, so they used the body double for it. The rest of it is absolutely Robert Shaw, and these are two guys that are former military
and boxers.
And they both boxed, man, both of them. And they did their own fight here. And it is vicious. This
probably one of the most brutal
movie,
fighting scenes at that time. Because
it's ridiculous. And it's so funny because Robert Shaw's character keeps getting knocked backward into the other compartment on top of the Bond girl, Bianchi.
She's unconscious.
Anima kept laughing. She's laughing because she's unconscious, and he keeps landing on her. I'm like, I know. But this has got some great movement in it, physical movement between two guys who know how to fight. And people don't know that Connery is a fucking brawler. Shaw was too. Both of them were brawlers. They weren't just like boxers. They brawled. And they were really good in street fights. So you got two guys that know how to fight. Because there was this gangster who pulled a gun on Sean Connery. A lot of you might know this story. Because he thought Connery was hitting on his woman. And pulled a gun on him. And Connery snatched it out of his hand and beat the shit out of him. Not knowing who he was. And Lee Marvin fucked around one time at a party and kind of insulted Connery's mother, not knowing it was his mother. And Connery walked up like ready to beat his ass, and Lee says, "Not in the face. I have to shoot tomorrow." And Connery ended up just laughing it off. Because Marvin too, another brawler.
Speaking about the face, the actress who plays Tatiana, they had to postpone her scenes for like more than a week because they had a little car accident and her face was swollen, so they couldn't do shots with her. She had to take a break.
Safety belts, man.
Yep. 60s, man. Probably not a thing back then.
God, Robert Shaw is so good in this role. And that's why I tell people all the time, the best Bond villain right here. This guy. Scary. He's efficient. He gets to the point. There's no, I'm going to leave him in the room and expect him to die. No, he's going to do it himself. I'm going to fucking shoot you or I'm going to choke you to death.
Yeah. Either way, I'm going to see you dead. And no, she's not drunk. She's been roofied, Gambit.
Yeah, he roofied her. And it grossed Anima out because when he dropped the pill in, he kept pouring the wine over his fingers. And she's like, oh, that's so disgusting. I didn't see the pill at first.
I saw him put the wine over his fingers. I was like, and then I saw the foam. I was like, yeah, let's put something in there. But I felt so bad for her because first she gets knocked out to the point where she's almost dead, and then she's being used as a mattress in that fight. That just sucks.
I also like that he's holding a gun on him, grabs his other gun, puts it over his shoe, and screws on the silencer while still aiming with the other gun. I'm like, that is just so fucking cool. Now he pulls out the film. This film is going to be found with you on your body with this letter blackmailing you. And they'll just figure you killed her and killed yourself.
And then he gets greedy.
There it is.
It's the classic, the villain talks too much before attempting to kill the good guy.
Oh, they love monologuing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it gives somebody a long enough time to figure something out. and it'll be slow and painful.
See, the way I kind of like it when they have conversations in movies is when the guy has given the other person a mortal wound and they're just having the conversation before they die, because that makes the most sense.
When he's already dying, yeah, but before taking a shot or stabbing him or doing whatever, just monologuing.
Yeah, no, it's
so narcissistic and dumb.
Shinatsky just shared this in the private chat. I'll share it with everybody out there. If you're curious about Bond's guns, there you go.
Yeah, that goes in the guy that wrote the letter that made Ian Fleming go, okay, he's no longer using a Beretta, he's using a Walther PPK. And they even show the different bullets hitting cans of stuff to show, how much more powerful each bullet is. And obviously, he'd prefer to use a.
They will say Walther PPK in the movies too. And what's funny is in a couple of scenes in the early films, like this one, he'll say Walther PPK, and it's actually not a Walther PPK; it's the other Walther he has. And I thought that was odd that someone didn't catch that in the movies.
Doesn't Q warn him not to use a Beretta at some point? If I remember that correctly.
I don't recall.
Though that is interesting that a Navy man, I guess, because Fleming was intelligence, right? So he didn't have as much experience with firearms as a soldier would.
Yeah, he knew what agents carried, though, the operatives. Back then, they didn't call them agents; they called them operatives.
Yeah, there's a whole crazy stuff of what happened to the intelligence community because of World War II, post World War II.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know the OSS is what became the CIA. One of the biggest mistakes Eisenhower ever made, and he admitted as such to Kennedy, John Kennedy.
It's even worse because of the way they got Scarface. What's his name? The big gangster guy that they got on tax evasion.
Al Capone.
Al Capone, yeah, because of Al Capone, the people that came after him realized, okay, we can't get on that, so we have to get involved with the financial institutions, basically making their own banks. And then especially because of the wanting to fight the you-know-who in World War II, they teamed up with the organized crime in Operation Underworld, as they called it. And basically that relationship continued, and now we have basically gangsters and intelligence have been working together ever since.
Well, that's the reason why, the mob technically no longer exists.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to point out here, too, because you just said something, Gambit, that I like. The fight is so well rehearsed. I'll defy anyone made. Today, they make really cool-looking fight scenes, but the problem is they don't look real. And real can get sloppy. And that's what happens in this fight. It gets sloppy. But they're trying to recover from leg slide here or tumble there. You see guys trying to. Absolutely. I fucking love this fight scene. And I agree with you, Gambit, that I would defy anybody to tell me what fight scene is more realistic and it's good as this fight scene. Because it's fucking brutal. This fight scene.
Yeah.
And filmed on a fucking train. They didn't have much space there.
Was it
difficult to begin with?
Deadwood has some really brutal, realistic fights, especially when one guy gets punched and his eye socket actually falls out. Because that can happen.
Yikes.
Yeah, and right before you knock him out, you go, hey, you see that ground your eye's looking at? Yeah. Get ready for it to get a little closer.
Yeah.
Wow. Gives new meaning to a grounded fight scene.
My problem is we didn't make 45s and smaller because it's such a big round. But I always felt they should have made it more compact. They kind of did later with the Colt Commander. which is just like the Colt 45 Combat, except for it's got a shorter barrel. Also, having shot it and handled it a lot, it doesn't rattle like a real 45, a Colt 45. The Colt Commander is very well machined, and it doesn't rattle when you shake it. The 45 Combat, do that to it, you can hear it rattle. And I love that.
I do find it funny, though, how casually they're able to pull the pins out of the grenades and just drop them.
Oh, yeah. In fact, they don't show him pull it out with his teeth, but right before he gets killed, the guy throwing the grenades, he has a pin in his fucking mouth. And that annoys
I hate when they do that.
Yeah.
Well, he was free when he died, Sander. But, yeah, he had untreated syphilis, and it went to his brain. Made Swiss cheese of it. They made a movie about it with Tom
Hardy.
Yeah, Hardy. Terrible movie. Terrible. Oh, I'm glad I paid nothing to see that movie.
Yeah, Josh Trank's last go.
That was terrible. By the way, this is all real helicopter until the explosion, and that's the miniature.
Yep.
Yeah, this is
as God intended.
Really this is really their salute to the big chase from North by Northwest.
Yep. Filmed in Scotland, by the way, because they had already transitioned there because they couldn't continue the boat scenes in Turkey because the water was too choppy. They started filming it there because they were doing the Istanbul shots, but they lost the camera because it drowned and it was just too dangerous and nothing worked. So
the water was too choppy.
Yeah,
it was the choppy water.
Yeah,
it's just so choppy. Yeah.
So they decided to film the final boat chase from Istria to Venice across the Adriatic Sea up in Scotland, where they did the land shots anyway with the helicopter scene.
Well, I want to point out again, this scene was an direct homage to Cary Grant's movie, Alfred Hitchcock.
North by
Northwest. You just said that.
I know, I said it earlier. I forgot the name. Look, man, I'm doing a lot here. The only change is that he hides and then shoots back. That's the only big difference. But it was also intended to look like an homage to the film.
The guy in the helicopter has a machine gun and is not using it. That was weird.
Never uses it.
Yeah.
You can see it in several shots that he's holding a gun. And I don't know why. Whenever they cut back to the helicopter cockpit, he's got fucking grenades. I'm like, where'd the machine gun go that you were holding?
North by Northwest, I know that seems like iconic, but I also consider it hilarious because basically the pilot just ends up getting themselves killed because they can't shoot Cary Grant.
I still have to make it through that movie. I couldn't when I tried for the first time.
What, you don't like Martin Landau being a homosexual?
Dude, I made it about like half an hour, 40 minutes into this movie, and I was just not interested. I couldn't get into it. It was just dragging out and so slow. I don't know.
I'm going to make her watch it with me one day, all the way through. Yes, you should. Because I'd like to talk about it on the show. By the way, again, something people forget is Bond is actually a naval officer. So he knows his way around a boat, just like he does with a woman.
Yeah. I do think the Barry Hitchcock spy film is actually 39 Steps. That's, I think, my favorite Hitchcock film.
No, it's actually not what happened. What happened was they were scouting locations in the helicopter, and it was Terence that was in the helicopter with him. And they lost, I forgot the term for it, where the updraft, downdraft thing. I'll forget the name for it. Anyway, they went straight into the drink, and the hatches were closed. And so they were trapped inside the bubble underwater with just a little bit of air up inside the bubble. And team went in after him, pulled him out. They had a second assistant on the film in that scene, and they got them out of the water. And Terence, who used to be a tanker in World War II, just fucking shook it off and went back to work. The other guy just wandered off and never came back. He walked off after the accident and never came back, never called him, nothing. He's basically said, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I bet
Nearly
that
died
guy
will
never
do that.
flew again.
As I said before, this entire scene shows is like, you don't really need to beat Spectre. Spectre's just going to kill everyone in the organization. And there'll be like one person left to try to murder you by the end.
Yeah, just make them fail. You don't need to kill them.
Yeah.
Now this actor in the back would come back later in the Roger Moore era, and he stayed all the way through to what's his name? Timothy Dalton is Walter Gotell, who plays Morsney in this. Morsney doesn't just do this scene; he's the one about to do something naughty in this scene, and because when you see that blade come out of the boot, you think it's her. And she's nervous. And I'm like, what is she? You know, I remember watching this the first time going, she's going to defend herself, try to defend herself. But it ends up, he's the one that's going to be killed. And it's actually Grozny that's standing behind him is the one who had the boot knife that stuck him.
Yep.
And
this is a setup so you know the blade's poisoned at the end of the movie.
Yeah, the blade has been envenomed with poison. Yes. And it's like, oh, I'm not dead. Thank God.
Not dead
so
yet.
All of these were there in Turkey. And it doesn't cut to Scotland until the chase scene. And the minute it starts the chase scene, you'll see a slight change in the peaks of the mountains. And it was shot in Scotland. And I'll break it down for you. Because I wrote this all out. And From Russia with Love, the key water scenes, specifically the boat chase, were filmed at Loch Cregnish in Scotland, despite being set in Turkey, according to the Film Locations Guide. They said the waters in Turkey were too turgid and choppy for the chase scene. The movie also features a scene in the Basilica Cistern in Istanbul, Turkey, where Bond and Karim Bey use a rowboat. Additionally, that scene, it was not shot there. It was actually shot at Pinewood Studios. Right now, we are now officially in Scotland.
Yay.
Not Constantinople.
Yay! Yay, Scotland.
Well,
Anima
no,
was
they
really
had
thrown
that
off by this one
Constantinople.
dude. This one dude is using something that looks like an RPG, and he's firing it like a mortar, holding it back and firing it
That
in the
looks
air.
so weird, yeah.
And then, what's his name? Yells at him, Morsney yells at him and says, don't kill them. We need to take them alive.
If you're ever curious about guns, my favorite website for it is Internet Movie Firearm Database.
Oh, I use that one too. I showed that to Anima. This is great because they shot the canisters of fuel. So there's all this fuel in the water now. Now,
Well, yeah,
this was a
because he-
dangerous stunt because several of the stunt actors actually got burned doing this. You actually see one guy jump out with his hand on fire. Jumps off the boat into the water. None too seriously. There are no serious injuries, but there were burns.
I mean, they cover them in material beforehand, right? Just in case.
Sadly, no George burns.
But it's
But,
such a
I
brilliant
gotta
move
hurt
on-
you, Gary.
It's a brilliant move on Bond's side to just drop the barrels into the water. And she thought it was to make the boat go faster. Then he pretends, surrenders. And she's like, why are we giving up? And then he fires the flare into it. It's brilliant. I wonder if this
Okay, let
actually
me-
works.
let me do it.
Probably does.
Let me do this correctly. Thank God it wasn't George Burns. There you go.
I hate you, Gary.
Oh, jeez.
The pain you're causing the panel, Gary.
I know it.
God can't help you now.
Hey, Keith, look back. How did your dad react to that joke?
Jeez. Well, my dad's not here. He's at home. But
Oh, I think he said he was watching.
no, he is. He's watching at his home.
Oh, okay. Well, hello, Mr. Moncrief.
Oh, man.
Just letting you
Keith.
know, I love you. I love your son, but he's a jerk.
Oh,
Keith,
man.
you have my permission to punch Gary next time you see him.
Oh.
Okay. So this, I paused for a second because I wanted to talk about the end of the book. Because Ian Fleming wanted to end here. He wanted this to be the last Bond book he ever wrote. He leaves the ending very ambiguous, but leaning hard towards Bond died at the end of this. Kleb got him with the blade, and at the end, he delivers a line. I can't remember what the line is, but he delivers a line and then collapses into the book. That's it. But they changed it for the movie.
Yeah.
Because Bond can't die in this movie. Because he's coming back. He'll be back in Goldfinger. Yeah, he doesn't even recognize her at first. It's when he turns, finally realizing she's got a gun on him. He goes, clip.
She probably should have just took the Lecter and just basically gunned it out the door. That would probably been the smartest thing to do it.
And you really wonder if she's just left him there. I'm sitting there at first like, how's he going to get out of this? She just fucking walked out that door. And then through the crack of the door, she nails Klepp in the gun hand with the attaché case. Then Bond grabs a chair and forces her against the wall so she can't kick him. This is great. But you're like, how's he going to get out of this, man? We're going to just wear her out, or what's he going to do? And that's where she comes into play and fucking shoots him. And by the way, I do want to point out that in the book, her last name was Romanov. And they didn't like that. The Russians, the communists didn't like that. Somebody with that name. And if you know your history, you know why.
Yep.
That's funny because I despise the Bolsheviks, but that's me.
Now, this ending scene was actually shot at Pinewood with a rear screen projector where they're in the boat, which to me is really kind of funny because it looks like they're just punting along in one of those Venetian boats. But when they head out into the big water, they've got fucking, wake behind them. And you can see smoke coming from the engine. And it's like, oh, they're in a real boat. Because they're moving fast. They ain't not one of those Venetian boats.
Yeah.
And it's a much happier ending because he takes that film and throws it in the water, salt water.
It's the same ending as Dr. No. He's making out with a girl in the boat and drops something into the water. In case it's the film. Last time it was the line. And then he goes, James Bond's going to be back.
And this time they gave the name of the movie. And they did that all the way up until Timothy Dalton, as I recall. Was it Timothy Dalton? Yeah, it was Timothy Dalton.
The one I find most hilarious is No Time to Die has James Bond will return. I'm going, you just killed him.
Well, that's because it's a different universe. I mean, that entire film series is a different universe. You can tell from the way they treated the characters, how look, Bond isn't the only one that dies in No Time to Die. Who else did they kill off in that movie?
Blofeld.
Felix.
That's right. They killed off Felix. Well, Felix doesn't die. Felix is technically fired.
That's why I hate that movie so much. It does so much fucking stupid shit in it.
Yeah, and it's meant to show a difference. I think it makes no sense that Bond would have had a previous relationship with Moneypenny.
That's funny. So her name means bread or loaf. That's so cool.
All of the films that ultimately were done, starting with Casino Royale, are all part of a much different Bond universe because that Bond never fights Dr. No. That Bond never. There's no Goldfinger. None of that. None of that happens. It's done in a kind of pseudo realistic way, as if Christopher Nolan was trying to sort of his hand, although Nolan would have been better, in my opinion. And they still should have hired him. I'm sorry, but they should have hired Nolan.
I-
But
Yeah, I just feel that Denilvu, it's like if they hired Jodorowsky to do a Bond movie in the 70s. It's like, yeah, I don't quite think he fits. Sorry, guys.
well, I don't know if it's so much the actors as it was just the direction of the family at that time. And they wanted to try something different. Well, guess what, guys? You did. And you were kind of successful up until you showed us that, hey, we're going to make all these changes to Bond, and it don't work. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see it.
No, the big mistake was trying to make it where it's this interconnected, continuing story. I guess because they want like it to be like the MCU or some shit like that. When everything should just be standalone. Do your beginning, middle, and end. Nothing's necessarily tied to anything else. You have continuity with characters, but
I think look. It doesn't matter if it's interconnected or not. It's the quality of the writing that you have. And when you decide to take, this is my problem with a lot of the current Marvel stuff. When you actually think you're smarter than the source material and you try to do stuff with characters that the creator never considered because
you're talking about something that I've also complained about, Keith, which is I dislike writers. One of them is the guy who did the Hill House, The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix. Flanagan, Mike Flanagan, is that his name?
I think so.
He works with Stephen King. Yeah. I don't like him because he thinks himself smarter than the person who wrote the original book, and he thinks that he can do something better than what they did. And that's why I didn't like his Haunting, the first season. I didn't like it at all. I'm like, you're missing the entire fucking point of his story. Or of the lady's story, because she was a great fucking writer. And her book, I've read the book. And that's why the original movie, The Haunting, is so fucking good. Because that's the book. He adapted the book. And it's really good. Do you know who directed that?
Not at the top of my head. Let's see. I just remembered the British one I hate that does that, fucking Stephen Moffat, especially with like the later half of Sherlock, where literally he tells you, "Oh, I set up this big mystery thing of why this happened. Oh, you're obsessed with it? Well, guess what? You're a fucking idiot." That was the whole point of the opening of the third series of Sherlock.
Yeah. Well, I didn't like Sherlock once I understood what they were doing. They were deconstructing Sherlock instead of trying to do Sherlock. Okay, Robert Weiss is the director of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows who he is, right?
Yeah, Julie. He was the one that ended up directing Star Trek: The Motion Picture, but he also did The Day the Earth Stood Still,
and Pebbles, Sound of Music. He also directed West Side Story. This guy was a prolific director. And he went with almost a very low budget and went and made an adaptation of that fucking movie, that book. And I'm telling you, Shirley Jackson had an amazing book. If you've never read her book, The Haunting of Hill House is just an amazing story. And
Julie Harris.
Just really good writing. I've never watched Moffat's Sherlock. There's so many problems. It's just not Moffat. It's not just Moffat. It's his partner, that fucking asshole that played Mycroft in the series. And somebody was like saying he should take over Doctor Who. And I went, no, fuck no. No. What he did to Sherlock Holmes and Watson, the actors were great. They were Sherlock Holmes and Watson. They were just unaware, I guess, that they weren't really playing Sherlock Holmes and Watson. They were deconstructing Watson and Sherlock. And it was messed up.
Never mind his Dracula. Oh, that pissed me off so much.
Which one did he do?
The Dracula, the BBC Dracula.
Oh, that one. Yeah. No, you're talking about the original or the one that was done in the last decade?
The one that was done the last decade, the one where it's
yeah,
like,
it's terrible.
oh,
He's
you
gay.
actually
He's gay.
aren't a vampire, you're psychologically like immortal or some shit like that. And then he ends up having sex with female Van Helsing at the end, and they're in the sun. It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and his character was a homosexual, and I'm
Yeah.
like, why'd you do that? That's nowhere in the original book. Why would you do that? You know,
we have entered a time where you have a lot of arrogance when it comes from writers. Now, there is nothing wrong with putting a little bit of a flair on something. Sometimes even changing plots or loosely basing quote unquote original ideas on another book or plot, that can be good. But the quality of a lot of writers nowadays, they're not talented enough to really even adapt simple books anymore. You know,
well,
people.
let's talk about one of those writers that I've shit on a lot. A lot of people go, "Oh, he's the greatest comic writer ever." I'm like, no, he's not. Alan Moore. Alan Moore was a hack. Alan Moore took other people's stuff and meshed it together, and that's all he did. With everything he ever did was inspired by something somebody else wrote, and he took it. Like the ending of Watchmen it's a Twilight Zone story, and I just man.
I never
I don't
quite
like
got
Alan
Neil
Moore.
Gaiman being so beloved. I mean, he's okay. I'm not saying it's a terrible writer.
Only thing he did that I enjoyed was when he was on Hellblazer, because I thought he wrote that pretty well. But that's because he was a writer for hire, and he wasn't trying to put too much of his own spin on it. He was writing what was given to him. When he started trying to create new stuff that was his original stuff, I really don't think much. I think the only thing of his I liked was Coraline.
And that was his daughter.
I liked
his daughter wrote Coraline. He actually basically actually set money aside for her when she hit 18 that she'd get, because basically his daughter invented I think about half of that he just turned into an actual commercial book.
Well, it's like my daughter. She used to do that shit too, and she had some great ideas, but I wasn't going to take them. She was telling me these stories back when we lived on Elm Street, and I'm like, baby, you need to write those. Be like your brother Ben and write. You're a good writer. And she just wouldn't do it. And anything I pushed her to do, tried to get her to do, she wouldn't do. But now she does it because I leave her the fuck alone. I'm like, do whatever you're gonna fucking do. I'm not. I'll go, yay, I love you. I'm proud of you. It just you cannot put anything in front of her and expect her to fucking do anything with it. Because she says, I don't rebel. What am I rebelling against? I said, in the end, you're rebelling against yourself. You're not rebelling against me, but if anybody puts an idea in front of you, specifically me, because I'm the one that's done it the most, you push it aside and go, I don't want to do that. And you just stop doing whatever it was you were just doing, like drawing. And then I left her alone. She started drawing again. And I just got to leave her alone, man. She's one of those people. I wished I'd had that kind of support from my dad. And she doesn't want it. She's like, it's like,
But some kids don't want to be anything like their parents, so they think they're becoming their parents. They're like, nope, not going that way, not going that way.
It does feel that way.
11 Alpha, good point. You have a good point there. 2 to 3 generations, English class, and affirming their self-esteem rather than, that's exactly it. You know, we're getting away from why things are the way that they are, rather than, having people just go, I want to put a lot of myself out there. Hey, guess what? It's great. Write your own original stuff. Put as much of yourself out there as you want. If you're going to try to adapt something, though, by its inherently, you are going to add some of yourself in there, but the ego of some of these people, they think that if you're adapting anything, whether it's Jaws or Dracula or whatever, 90% of what you're going to see is going to be me. And it's like, no, that's not why people are going to watch this.
That's really funny. It's really funny, Keith. Everything I've written, I've been writing for, on and off like over 20 years. Hopefully soon something's actually going to happen. I mean, I got something with my name on that hopefully will come out soon. But like the last thing I want to write about is myself because I already know myself. I want to write and experience and think about other people's perspectives in other areas of the world
Mhm.
and things I can't do in my regular everyday day-to-day life. I want to explore humanity
Yes.
through the written word.
Yes. And there are people out there that don't feel that way. I can't lay it on an entire generation because, but I mean, it seems to be the way we're going. But people, there's almost this creative narcissism that we're generating now. You can't be creative without being a much bigger narcissist than there ever was. Look, there's a little bit of narcissism involved in the arts, but nowadays it is so out of control on all sides almost.
It's the my story bullshit. It's just like, and don't get me wrong, an important thing as a creative, you should realize, tell the stories you can tell best. But keyword that you can tell best. Don't tell stories about yourself, but figure out what kind of stories are your stories. Much like the way, if you say like Clive Barker, there's a Clive Barker story. You have an idea of like what you're going to get with that. I want that with me. I want is like this is a story by Chinatsky. I have a kind of an idea of what it's going to be, and hopefully that's going to be good. You always need to find your voice, but you can't make it all about yourself.
Yes. Well, look, some people can adapt. Some people can take what they've seen other people do and are fans of that other person to the point where they can actually write something that seems like the person that they admire actually wrote it. I just learned that we got denied something really cool with hello, Joe. We got denied something really cool by the head of CBS television, Les Moonves. Basically, Tom Selleck decided that he heard a pitch by Tom Clancy and was willing to make a Magnum PI movie in the 90s with Tom Clancy that got poo-pooed by the head of CBS.
I mean, heck, there's books I'm going through that I think could be amazing movies that they're not necessarily going to want to adapt. Like, people go gaga over Salmon, but one book I'm going through now is Knight's Master, which is like a fairy tale type thing, but it has demons and all this other crazy shit.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the Arabian Nights, 1001 Tales, except the connective tissue is the Prince of Demons, who's basically like loves tormenting humanity, but ironically ends up defending humanity when he thinks it's going to get wiped out. And he actually has to save us because if he doesn't have humanity, he has nothing. It's awesome.
Well, again, it really is about whether or not there are enough talented people who aren't so self-centered in their creativity that's actually any good. We're going to see whether or not the people making the new Buffy are any good. We're going to see
will
whether
find
or
out.
not.
I don't have faith because
of
Chloe Zhao. I just going. You had your fantasy epic attempt with the Eternals. I know Marvel's messing with you, but like it's an indie director. They're not going to make a mainstream popcorn thing like Buffy was.
I know, but I'm gonna give her a chance because Sarah Michelle is on board.
Hey, Joe's here, guys.
Hey, Joe. They also have one of the producers and writers involved from the original Buffy series. I'm going to give them a chance. I will give them an opportunity because
as somebody who wasn't a fan of the original, I don't care. I like the movie that came out in the 90s. I didn't like the TV show.
Yeah.
I got to wrap this up, guys. I hate this. But
Sure.
before we go, I thought I'd show, because as I'm a writer, but I'm a slow writer, and I also like go back to things and I go, oh, I need to do this, and oh, I should have done that, and I hem and haw over my work, and that's why it's taken me so long. And I expected also to get some help from other people, but I ended up just having to do all of this by myself, and man, I'm slow. 12 years I've been working on this book, but I'm now getting towards the very end of it, and this is the last 2 pages of the book, and I removed the words, so you're not allowed to read the dialogue, but you can see the art. My pencils and my inks. That's one, and this is the very last page of the book.
I don't see anything.
That's cool.
It's a dark ending. I like dark endings.
Yeah, I mean, when he goes, Elmo was right on Twitter. You're really brave for doing that, Gary.
Wait, what?
Oh, you don't know? Someone hacked the Elmo account on Twitter, and he was saying a lot of really terrible things.
Oh, I knew about that, but I didn't understand what you were saying about me.
Oh, I said, it's really brave of you to have the last lines he says is like, that Elmo on Twitter was right.
Elmo on Twitter was right. Okay, now I get it. I liked Spike TV series. I also liked Angel. I watched both of those shows. I also got to work on the comic book for Spike. I didn't do the artwork. I did the animated trailers for it that promoted it. It was fun.
Yeah. Good work.
Why is the gun sound the German word for cocoa?
It's not. I don't know where you get that from, Alpha.
Cocaine.
Cocaina. Cocaina.
No, it's cacao in German. That's not a gun sound.
Well, it's close. Cacao. It's kapow. That cacao. I've heard people say that though. Cacao. And I'm like, it's kapow. What are you doing? Cacao.
The one I've always
looking for cocaine.
The one I've always found weird was the Wolverine claws thing, because like it's S like K. It's like something like that.
I don't know. I don't know.
The weird lettering for anytime Wolverine's claws comes out in the comics, it's like skinks.
Oh, snicked.
Yeah,
S-N-I-A-T. Yeah, snicked.
Yeah.
I always like that sound effect. I make up my own for mine because, like, I don't use the traditional sounds when my M16s fire or M4 fires. I have a very specific sound that I write. My onomatopoeia. It's called onomatopoeia. That's words that represent a sound.
I was like rat-ta-ta-ta. That's a good
bad.
one.
That's old comics.
Yeah. Well, good show. Good show. Good film. Great actors. Again, for those of you out there, you really enjoy seeing all of us do this. Please, please, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you can, really, really press hard on that like button because we need it.
Yeah.
Mainly because YouTube is changing how they do things. So it's really important to hit the like button nowadays and give us an opportunity to do more of this for you.
Yep.
And if you can, share it out to people because that helps a lot too. I'm going to let you see one more page from the book, one that I was currently working on too, because I'm working on chapters. I go back and forth.
Hold on. I just had something pop in my head, Gary. If Venkman's girl was here, she would probably write something in the chat like, touch that like button like Kleb touches Tatiana or something.
Yeah, smash that like button. Smash that like button like it's a spider. Yeah, like it's a spider.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, here you go. This is, I'm trying to replicate with pen and ink what it looks like when you use infrared thermal on the drone. You see the drone flying there. And down below, you see him. He's preparing for one of the biggest fights in the book. And I mean, it's him versus 18 fucking mercs. And I can't tell you why he's fighting them. There's a specific reason why he's stuck and has to fight them and not try to get out of there. And I can't tell you because you got to read the book. And he just plants himself behind these things, sets up laser mines. They're claymores that are triggered instead of by the hand device, but built on switch that's attached to a laser. And if you cross that laser, break the laser, it goes off. And he's got them set up to help slow him down because he knows this is going to be one hell of a fight. And the guys he's fighting now for are Russian mercs. I won't say their names in the book, but you know who they are. I leave a lot of names, like the gang. I never say the name of the gang because I think writers get in hot water when they mention real people or make up fake names that are too close to the real thing. Just leave the names out.
You don't want to be Hunter S. Thompson with the Hells Angels.
Nope, not this guy. They said
Good
YouTube would be counting likes and comments. What about chat participation? I don't think chat. I mean, I think that it affects the live numbers, but in the long run, it doesn't impact. That's why I always ask if you guys could leave comments on the video.
Yes.
That really helps. And and remember to smash that like button. Also, double check if you're subscribed. Check to make sure that your subscription is still holding because YouTube will fucking kick people.
Yeah.
They've done it.
Yep.
They have done
Penny
it.
was one of the first to tell us that they did it to her.
Hey, I've had it happen to me. You know, I found out I was no longer subscribed to Pop Culture Minefield one day. It's just like,
well, I am in Pop Culture Minefield, for God's sakes. Just proving again, YouTube is racist.
Hey, you know what though? This movie was a very progressive movie because it depicted very accurately inter-partner violence in the lesbian relationship.
Yeah.
oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yep. They were represented. Anyway, I want to thank Gambit, Snorty, Sailor Outlaw, Slasher Fred, Simon Graves, 11 Alpha, Tom Baker, Wade was here too from Wade's Nation Gaming. Let's see, Bumpy Johnson dropped in again. He joined us this morning too. Sandra Hammerschlag, E. Clay Thomason, Read by Nature, Paul Smith, Jeebus, Monkey Jeebus, Keely Chow, Jacob the Critic, Pacific 414. And by the way, it was fun hanging out with you the other night, Pacific. He was streaming the new updates for RoboCop, and I haven't gotten them yet. And I was like, "Oh, this looks good. It looks so good." And I love that game. Also, I have Nodic was here, D. Bud Martin, Adega Outlaw, and of course our good friend and who's part of Pop Culture Minefield, Joe, was here. So thanks, guys, for being here. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you, D. Bud, for doing that. That's awesome. Thank you, dude. And we're going to get out of here. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you again on Monday. And on Monday, I don't remember, what are we doing Monday?
The
What did
Nicole
I
Kidman
pick?
flick.
Which one?
It has Nicole Kidman in it, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
Hold on.
we're doing Peacemaker, the Peacemaker. Yeah, we're going to do that
Elmo
with
did
George.
nothing wrong.
Elmo did nothing wrong. Be playing it for fun. Great weekend. You guys too. We'll see you all later. Basically trying to get to the media here because nobody is managing but me. And so there we go. We are out of here, guys. We will see you next time. Bye now.
Bye.
Everybody's getting a chance to say bye. Okay, there you go. Bye.